is voldoende om 3 miljoen mensen te huisvesten. Ja, er zijn plannen om er nog meer aan te leggen. Bij elkaar maken ze de kustlijn van de stad 7 maal langer dan hij was. De opgesloten landmassa's hebben de kust van Dubai onherkenbaar veranderd. Maar de natuur vecht terug. Wind en stroming dreigen het zand opnieuw naar open zee af te voeren. De ingenieurs moeten ingrijpende maatregelen nemen om hun kustlijn te beschermen tegen de zee. Kilometer buiten de kust van Dubai is een duikteam onderweg naar het nieuwste megaproject van de stad. De wereldeilanden. Een half miljard ton zand gestort in de vorm van een wereldkaart. De bouwkundigen van de stad moeten de eilanden zien te behuren voor de verwoestende invloed van wind en water. Brandon Jack is onderweg om de strekking van de eilanden te inspecteren. Een enorme muur van rotsblokken die de eilanden tegen afkalving moet beschermen. Het team is op weg naar een recente aanwinst op de locatie.
We're using the GPS to try and find the location of it. Because we have marked it on maps, we're keeping the location of it quiet.
Op deze geheime locatie is een van de meest gewaagde projecten uitgevoerd die ooit in Dubai zijn ondernomen.
Right here? Okay.
4 jaar geleden hebben duikers een enorm koraalrif ontdekt. Een zeldzame vondst in deze water. Maar het rif lag voor de monding van een drukke haven en het koraal was aan het afsterven. Brandon en zijn team stonden voor de uitdaging om het complete rif te verplaatsen naar de strekdam van de wereldeilanden. Een vrijwel onmogelijke operatie die nooit eerder was uitgevoerd.
When the work was done, there was no guarantees of success. The coral we had here was what's called a hard or encrusting coral. It grows very tightly on the rocks. So if you use traditional relocation methods, it wouldn't work here.
Het rif was het grootste in Dubai en bestond uit 22.000 koraalkolonies. Als het team ze 1 voor 1 van de rotsers zou plukken, zou 1 op de 3 kolonies dat niet overleven. Daarom ontwikkelden ze een radicaal nieuwe techniek. Ze boorden gaten in de hoofdblokken, vulden die met niet-giftige lijnen en plaatsten er stalen stakken in. Zo konden ze in hun geheel verhuisd worden. Met een kraan werden de rotsblokken van de zeebodem opgehezen en onder een bron gehangen. Vervolgens werden de rotsblokken versleept en 15 kilometer verderop op hun nieuwe locatie neergelaten. Ze hoefden dus nooit boven water te komen. Het verplaatsen van meer dan 1000 rotsblokken, elk met een gewicht van zo'n 5 ton, was een kolossale onderneming. Het team sleepte ze naar de wereldeilanden en liet ze voorzichtig langs de strekdam zakken, in de hoop het koraal niet te beschadigen.
They have been spread over the space of 10 football fields. Give this coral the best chance it possibly has for survival and for growing more coral out here on the reef.
Vandaag gaan Brandon's duikers bij de koraal bekijken om te zien hoe ze de verhuizing doorstaan hebben.
Ready? Okay.
Er staat vandaag een stevige tijding.
The swell that we're experiencing today is exactly why the reef is here, is to provide that physical protection for the islands that have been created inside the breakwater.
Gemiddeld sterft een derde van alle koralen die verhuisd worden. Maar bij een eerste telling blijkt ruim 90% van het rif bij de wereldeilanden in leven te zijn. Een uniek resultaat.
How's it looking?
Very good. Good. The reef is doing its job. Now that coral is adding to the protection for the existing breakwater that is on the world. So it fulfills a function engineering-wise, but also in terms of jump-starting the ecological growth on the natural breakwater that we have built out here.
Het verplaatsen van het rif heeft $10 miljoen gekost, maar dat geld is goed besteed aan de bescherming van de kust van Dubai. vlugtige uitvindingen verborgen achter de façade van de stad. Beschermen de kustlijn. Winnen olie uit de rotsbodem. Verteren torens op zand. En pompen water uit de top van kolenkrabbers. Moderne technologie heeft van Dubai een parel van de woestijn gemaakt.
Flavourings. A trip to the lab that makes them. It's all in good taste. Dog sleds. We hope we don't turn your head to mush. And athletic shoes. We'll be visiting a well-known factory that helps you run right. But first. At many work sites, grapples do all the heavy lifting. Dangling from crane booms, these huge mechanical claws move mountains of materials, one load at a time. Some are equipped with powerful electromagnets, helping them get a good grip of the situation. Not much can escape the grasp of the mighty grapple. A magnet at the centre pulls metal from the scrap heap, and 4 fingers dig into the pile. It then transfers the load of steel for recycling. Actually take some of that recycled steel to make a grapple in the form of steel plate. A computer-guided flame burns through steel to cut out the various part shapes. It will take approximately 50 pieces in a range of shapes and thicknesses to make one grapple. A press brake repeatedly rams one of the parts, while an operator adjusts it forward between thrusts. The process curls the part to give it a claw-like profile. It's the basic shape of a grapple finger. Using a template, he checks the curvature to confirm it's on target. He'll curl 4 fingers per grapple. Meanwhile, a welder pieces together the grapple's core, working within a special fixture that allows him to assemble it precisely. After he tack welds them together, it's over to the robot. It does the permanent welds, as the core slowly rotates in a special device. They hoist the welded grapple core over to the magnet and feed its main wire up through the core. They lower their core and it fits onto metal dowels protruding from the magnet. This allows them to align the two precisely. They thread high-strength bolts onto the dowels to secure the assembly. Next, they place a turntable bearing on the grapple's top flange. This bearing is an important part of the claw rotator mechanism. They fasten the bearing's outer ring to the flange with numerous bolts, torquing each one tightly to withstand the spinning action of the bearing's inner ring. As demonstrated here, the bearing turns in both directions to give the grapple claw's movements flexibility. A worker now lowers the upper rotator assembly onto the turntable bearing. This assembly holds the rotator's motor and the manifold that feeds hydraulic fluid to the cylinders that power the claw. They now slide the hydraulic cylinders into their slots and lock them in place with pivot pins. They install a total of 4 cylinders. Each one will power 1 grapple finger, and together they'll open and close the grapple claw. They connect the hydraulic feed lines to the cylinders and reinforce the connection with a 4-bolt flange, which can handle the pressure of the hydraulic fluid. They guide each steel finger into slots in the grapple core and align it correctly. They slide a pivot pin into the attachment holes to link the two. This pin will also act as a hinge as the finger opens and closes. They fasten the pivot pin to the grapple with a nut that's split in one spot. This split enables it to be squeezed tightly around the large pin using a small bolt. They attach the hydraulic cylinders to the claw fingers with more large steel pins. They're now ready to power the grapple claw and test the grip in action. The 4 tines, or fingers, open and close in unison. The tips mate correctly. There's no overlap. This grapple claw is now ready for the job site. It weighs 4.5 tons, and just dropping it on a car will crumple it like a piece of tissue paper. It takes about 150 hours to manufacture a grapple claw, and when combined with a magnet, it's got a strong hold over anything. Hold on a minute, that's my car. Put it down. Whether it's orange in your chocolate, hazelnut in your coffee, blue cheese in your salad dressing, spearmint in your chewing gum, bacon in your crisps, kiwi fruit in your jelly, or strawberry in your milkshake, whatever, flavouring companies can provide all of the above, just to suit your tastes. Not only do flavourings companies produce ingredients for commercial use, they also manufacture standalone flavouring products for retail sale, such as those syrups you squirt into coffee or other drinks. In the company's research and development lab, flavour chemists create each recipe, drawing from an elaborate arsenal of ingredients. If they're designing an orange flavouring, for example, they might combine orange essence and orange peel with extracts from other citrus fruits, tweaking the proportions until they achieve exactly the taste they're after. This chemist is designing flavouring for a soft drink. He pours a specific amount of his trial recipe into water, then carbonates the mix by adding pressurised carbon dioxide. Then he bottles the drink and sends it to the client for approval. Once the client gives the approval, the plant technicians mix a production formula, following very precise weights and measures set out in the recipe. Once they combine the formula's key ingredients, they add them to liquid fillers, such as fruit juice and water, and solvents, such as ethanol. The solvents trigger molecular changes which transform the oil-soluble key ingredients into a water-soluble state. Without this conversion, the finished flavouring would simply float on top of any liquid when added. At several points throughout the process, the company's quality control lab performs an array of tests to assess the colour, flavour, viscosity and other characteristics. The last ingredients to go into the production formula when the recipe calls for them are the colourings. Sometimes a client wants a powdered flavouring rather than a liquid one, so chemists develop a liquid recipe that a machine called a spray dryer can produce into a powder. In the production plant, workers pour the required quantity of production formula into a large processing kettle. They add whatever additional ingredients the recipe may call for, and if required, heat the mix. If they're making a powdered flavouring, they pour the liquid into a mixer containing water, gums and starches. These keep all the ingredients evenly blended. Then they open a hatch and drop the mix directly into the spray dryer. The machine uses high pressure to transform the liquid into a fine mist, then heat to dry the mist particles into powder particles. They put the powder into a machine called a ribbon blender and add whatever dry ingredients the flavouring recipe calls for. The mixing blades slowly blend all the powders together. The plant sends a sample from the blender to the quality controller. Among other tests, lab technicians put the sample under a microscope to analyse the particle size, which indicates how thoroughly the ingredients are blended. After the ribbon blender, the finished flavouring passes through a vibrating screen, a magnet, and a metal detector. The packaging equipment weighs a specific quantity and dispenses it into cartons lined with polyethylene. A suction hose vacuums up any dust in the process because airborne powder is an explosion hazard. The plant sends a sample from every batch it produces back to the lab. Trained testers smell and taste the sample and compare it to the model lab batch. The testers flag any production sample that's even the slightest bit off the mark, in which case they alert the flavour chemists, who then diagnose and fix the problem. This procedure, along with the various quality control measures throughout the production process, ensures the all-important taste consistency. Whether the prepared flavouring is an ingredient in a food or beverage, or a flavouring that you just add to a drink or snack. Lovely. Yes, try that one. Rhubarb and custard sugar. That's my favourite. Coming up, we visit a factory with an awful lot of soul. We see how trainers are made. And I'll be putting on my husky voice for all the detail on dog sleds. See you after the break.
Een gloednieuwe aflevering. Wielerdealers. Zaterdag 9 uur bij Discovery. Achter elk hoek. Gevaarscheld.
This is a robbery.
Geld wet van de snelste.
This is the moment where he becomes the greatest ever. Not the best. That's what legends are made of. They have messed with the wrong. Not walking.
Het fraaie verhaal achter de helden van het Wilde Westen. Kranslikkers. Vanavond 10 uur bij Discovery.
For centuries, dog-driven sleds were a lifeline across the snow and ice, delivering medicine and other supplies to far-flung communities. Today, aircraft and snowmobiles have mostly taken over that work, and dog sledding has become a sport, and a well-made sled is behind every winning team. A dog sled race is an endurance test for the dogs, the driver, and the sled itself. A good sled is both flexible and sturdy enough to go the distance. At this factory, they make sleds from white ash. A worker angles the ends of vertical bars so they can be fitted to the sled's top rail and handlebar. These bars are called stanchions. He shapes the other end of them so they'll fit into grooves in the sled's runner. All the parts of this sled are designed to fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. A worker now screws aluminium rails onto the bottom of the two runners. He slides plastic strips into those aluminium rails, which gives the runners a smooth base for gliding over ice or snow. He secures the plastic strips at each end with screws. The crew is now ready to assemble all the pieces of the dog sled. They attach metal screw eyes to the runners. They'll thread rope through them when they're ready to tie the parts of the sled together. All the parts of the framework fit into notches made specifically for them. The location of those notches has been precisely mapped out. If one is even a centimetre off, the sled would collapse. They measure the space between the runners to confirm they're perfectly aligned. And now tie the joints together with nylon rope. These ties are called lashings, and there are 22 of them on this dog sled. Historically, lashings were made of moose hide, but nylon is tougher. They cut the rope with a hot blade, which seals the fibres so they won't unravel. They also tie the midpoint joints together, and the focus then moves to the handlebar. A worker glues strips of ash together. The strips are thin so they can be easily bent, allowing him to curl the glue layers around to form a U-shape. He clamps the wood to the brace, and the glue cures for 3 hours. It hardens the U-shape, creating the dog handlebar. He secures the handlebar to the dog sled with nylon lashings. The team then assembles the bed of the sled. They clamp the slats into place and then screw them to the framework. Next to go on is the sled's front bumper, called the brush brand. A worker then cuts off the metal bead of a bicycle tyre and discards it. He uses the remaining tyre track to create footpads by wrapping it around pieces of thick plastic and screwing it into place. He installs a treaded pad on each runner to keep the driver's feet from slipping off. Then they install an aluminium bar brake. These pivot bolts will allow this bar brake to be raised when not needed and lowered to engage the metal talons. He loops a bungee cord on each side of the crossbar and burns off an end. He hooks the other end of the cord to the brake. This simple mechanism will enable the dog sled musher to activate the brake. He heat shrinks rubber tubing around the base of the cord to protect it. They now weave the back of the sled using nylon cord to create a carrying basket. It's big enough to hold a tired animal or human. The worker then loops and ties the bridle to the front stanchions beneath the sled. He forms a V as he threads it from the back of the sled to the front. He paints urethane onto the wood and even over the lashings. This will protect them against wear. It's taken about 3 days to make this traditional basket dog sled, and now it's ready to mush. Now where are those dogs? Yeah, but now it's the snow. We're going nowhere. Athletic shoes date back to ancient times, but the concept gained a foothold with the development of treaded rubber soles early in the 20th century. These rubber-soled shoes were lightweight, comfortable, and hit the ground quietly, earning them the nickname sneakers. Design improvements have broadened the appeal of trainers. People wear them everywhere. Using a hydraulic press, this worker forces a die through synthetic fabric to cut out patterns for the upper part of the shoe. At the next station, he punches out leather toe tips. The toe tip is one of numerous cutouts that add shape and structure to the synthetic upper. After arranging the tip parts on a non-stick tray, this worker places strips of thermal resin onto them. She drapes a non-stick sheet over the tray, then slides it into a hot metal press. The resin melts into the leather to stiffen and strengthen it. Another worker stamps the model number onto the heel cutout. Then it's over to the sewing department, where a worker stitches a reflector onto the trainer's upper. Other accent pieces call for more intricate stitching, so she arranges the parts on a computerized platform. The platform moves back and forth, allowing the needle to do a perfect job of stitching the accent pieces to the upper. This stitching would be very difficult to execute by hand. Once some of the more substantial pieces have been applied to the shoe, it's time to sew on a reflective logo. Once again, the needle is guided by computer software. The trainer upper is now ready for its resin-fortified leather toe tip, and she stitches it in place. Then pieces together the collar, and sews it to the back of the shoe. She installs thick foam padding on the inside of the collar, and then turns it right side out to tuck the padding neatly inside and hide the seam. Putting on the collar has obscured the top lace holes, so she clears them with a compressed air punch. Down the line, more computerized needles embroider brand information onto the tongue panels. The next worker sews a liner and padding to the panel, again working inside out to hide the seam. Another worker then stitches a fabric base onto the trainer. She applies a piece of rigid plastic to the heel. This adds structure and support to the back of the shoe. Further down the production line, a worker tucks the shoe onto a foot form called the last. They heat it to make it malleable enough for this machine to put it to the shape of the last. At the same time, nozzles apply cement to glue the overlap to the fabric base. Then a machine heats both the upper and a rubber sole. The heat activates glue applied to the sole earlier, and also prepares the upper for bonding to that sole. They initially use manual force to press the two together, and then the shoe is subjected to mechanical pressure. Inside this machine, a rubber bladder expands to force the two together for a complete seal. The shoe then gets a foam insole with an arch support. The worker laces it partially and then pairs it up with the other shoe. An inspector examines the pair for defects. It's taken about 21 minutes to make this pair of trainers, which means they're fit to leave the factory, and perhaps they can find an owner to match. But not me. My fitness is a running joke.
Overal kan je de patronen zien. Vreemde incidenten. Onopgeloste raadsels. Bijzondere gebeurtenissen. Wat hebben deze verhalen met elkaar te maken? Zie jij een patroon? Kijk goed. Een nieuwe aflevering. The Unexplained Files. Zondag. Er is nog meer.
next made. Retractile cords, a very able cable, and a report that's designed to stretch us. Wood frame sports cars, old school classics, these are in a class of their own. And sushi, we'll be serving up a double helping of everyone's favourite Japanese dish. And I'm going to say it, it'll be a tasty report. But first, retractile cords were invented for telephone handsets in the late 1930s, and ever since these coiled cords have been making a lot of great connections. From medical equipment to construction tools to industrial machinery, they keep a lot of things plugged in, and we are not stretching the truth. Retractile cords stretch when needed and spring back into a tight coil afterwards. And that means no tangled knots and wiring snarls, which saves time and frustration in straightening things out. Production begins with thermoplastic colouring. The colour selected indicates the electrical function of each wire in the cord. It takes just a small amount to tint a batch of white plastic pellets a vivid hue as they melt in an extruder. Tin-plated copper wire feeds into that extruder, and the coloured molten plastic coats the wire to provide an insulating wrap. As it exits the extruder, the plastic casing is still warm and soft, and a water bath solidifies it. A spool then takes up the insulating wiring. Several wires unwind simultaneously over guide rollers and into a spreader plate. The plate precisely aligns the wires as they feed into a die. The die draws them down to the correct diameter, while a mechanism further down the production line twists the wires into one cord. The cord continues to twist as rollers wrap polyester-backed foil around it. This foil acts as a shield to protect the wires from electrical interference. The cord then passes through the twisting mechanism and onto a take-up reel. Next, standard unshielded cord travels through beads of electrodes as thousands of volts of electricity are run through them. The electrodes detect any faults in the wires. If they find none, the cord moves forward. The next machine gives the cord a paper wrap. That's followed by the final layer, a thermoplastic jacket. It also takes a trip through a cooling station to solidify. A printer records technical and other information on the sheath. The plastic casings of some cords have been treated with fire-retardant chemicals. Now they put that treatment to the test. The cord doesn't catch fire, confirming that it's flame resistant. So now it's ready to be coiled. This worker gets the process started by manually winding it around a rod. A press of the button and the automated winder does the rest. This establishes the spiraling profile of the retractile cord. But at this point, the coil isn't set. Simply removing the rod would make it unravel. The plastic sheathing around the wires has no memory, so it won't retain the shape. They wheel the cords, still on the rods, to an industrial oven and bake them at approximately 90 degrees Celsius. This gives the cord's plastic casing the necessary memory, so that when the operator pulls out the rod, the coil is intact. But it still doesn't have the necessary snap. That's achieved by reversing the direction of the cord. The equipment used for that is not busy, so this working demonstrates the basic concept with a drill. The drill turns the cord counterclockwise and progressive reel. The effect ripples all the way out to the end. Reversing the direction of the cord transforms it. The process tightens the spirals so that after the cord is stretched, it retracts to its original shape. The end product is filled up with heart and soul, and then petrol. The first models in the early 1900s were three-wheeled with motorcycle engines. It wasn't until the mid-1930s that these sports cars acquired a fourth wheel and a four-cylinder car engine. But one thing hasn't changed in more than a century: the wooden frame construction. In the factory's woodshop, workers glue together 6mm thick ash panels to produce the 3-ply lamination, which makes the frame's curved components. To make each wheel arch, they clamp the lamination into a rounded jig for a couple of hours. The glue dries, locking the curve in the wood. They make the frame's front section out of 3 solid pieces of ash. Triangular wood jigs align the frame, while workers screw in a solid ash rail on each side. These rails connect to back framing and form the bottom of the car's door openings. 2 vertical rails form the side of the openings on which the door will hinge. Using a spoke shape, workers craft each door frame so it fits perfectly in the openings they just constructed. Then they mount the door frame with strong steel hinges. Next, they submerge the finished frame in wood preservative, giving the chemical plenty of time to thoroughly penetrate the pores of the wood. This will prevent the frame from rotting. Elsewhere in the factory, workers assemble the engine, gears and drive shaft to the car's galvanized steel chassis. Then mount the front and rear axles and wheels. They'll switch the brass wheel nuts for sleek chrome ones later. Now back to the bodywork. They cut an aluminium panel to the shape of the door frame, only wider around the edges. Clamp it onto the door frame and hammer down this door skin over the frame edge all around. They remove the clamps, then peel off the panel's protective covering. After paneling the rest of the wood frame in aluminium, they install the completed door, gently tapping the hinge pin in place. Now they lower the panel body onto the chassis. The only wooden parts not covered with metal are the tyre wells at the rear. Unlike the rest of the body frame, these are made of water-resistant plywood. The bonnet is actually 2 bonnets. To make each one, a craftsman feeds aluminium through rollers to curve it. Then he massages it over an old log that this factory's been using for this job since the 1930s. They put each panel through a press that cuts louver holes. In the old days, the purpose of louvers was to ventilate and cool the engine. Today, they just bring style. The 2 finished bonnet panels go on either side of a central hinge, forming a bonnet that opens like butterfly wings. The body gets a paint job. They then trim the car's interior with leather, cutting and stitching every piece by hand and fixing it to the wood frame. They make door seals by wrapping leather around rubber tubing. And finally they fit the wings, now painted, over the front and back wheels. The front wings have shells which house the car's headlights. Workers install the radiator at the front and top it with a cover called a cowl. Then the dashboard, complete with instruments, the gear stick, windscreen, mirrors, and of course the steering wheel. They also attach the soft top, handcrafted from either vinyl or mohair, to a tubular frame. After installing the leather trimmed seats, they take the car out for a test drive, after which it undergoes a meticulous inspection inside and out. Finally, after a wax and polish, this fancy fusion of technology and tradition gets the green light. Sushi is a meal that appeals to the discriminating palate. They have very rudimentary beginnings. The The first sushi was actually a form of food preservation. Salted fish was covered in cooked rice and left to ferment for months and even years. The rice was then discarded and the fish consumed. A fresh approach came about a century ago, when the Japanese began combining raw fish with pressed mounds of cooked rice. It was a mouth-watering combination and brought something entirely new to the table. Rice is now an essential part of sushi. Sushi chefs use short or medium grain because it sticks together better than long grain. First, the chef swishes it around in water to rid off impurities. This also begins to remove the rice bran, which has an undesirable flavour and aroma. He drains the rice and adds clean water. Next, he scrubs it with the palm of his hand vigorously to remove more of the rice bran. When the water becomes cloudy from the bran, he changes it again. By now the water has softened the rice, which makes the grains prone to breakage, so he scrubs them more gently this time to keep the rice grains whole. Finally, he rinses the rice under a tap until the water drains clear. The rice is now thoroughly washed and ready to cook. He adds an equal amount of water, a splash of sake, and plugs in the rice cooker. The previous day, he seasoned rice vinegar with a strip of dried kombu seaweed and left it to soak up the flavours. The flavoured vinegar is key to making good sushi rice. It's what makes the rice sticky. Pours the sushi vinegar into the cooked rice and evenly distributes it with a gentle mixing motion to keep each grain intact. He fans the rice and the grains dry to a nice sheen. With the rice prepared, it's time for all the raw details. Each fish must be assessed for any spoil or damage. The chef lifts the gills to confirm that the flesh underneath is red and translucent and looking fresh. He also examines the eyes of the fish. They should be bright and clear. Looks good to me. He then prods the skin of this sea bream to establish its firm. Once he's satisfied, he prepares the fish, first scraping away the unpalatable and messy scale with a rasp. Next, he uses the thin edge of a one-sided blade to fillet the fish. Razor sharp, this knife cuts cleanly through the fragile flesh. He slices off and discards the head. He then carves the flesh from the backbone. Now firmly grasping the tail of the fillet, he cuts the skin from the flesh, using a zigzag motion to pull it away. This technique leaves no flesh on the skin at all, so that not a morsel goes to waste. Using fishbone tweezers, he takes out all the small bones. He now slices the fish on an angle across the grain, using one long stroke that doesn't tear the fibres, the way a sawing motion might. The result is a shiny, smooth piece of sea bream. Next, he peels away the transparent outer skin of a marinated mackerel to expose the silvery subskin. The colourful subskin enhances the look of the sushi. It's also extremely tasty. Next, he carves tuna that's been frozen within hours of being caught. This locks in the freshness so that when it's thawed, it's good for sushi. And the freezing also kills any parasites in the fish. He chops spring onions into thin rings. They'll be used to offset the strong taste of mackerel sushi. He then mixes water and wasabi powder to create wasabi paste, a hot condiment often eaten with sushi. And with all the ingredients prepared, it's time to start rolling. See you after the break.
geleden lanceerde de ESA de ruimtesonde Rosetta. Haar missie: landen op komeet 67P. Met snelheden boven 120.000 km per uur en een afstand groter dan 6 miljard kilometer zal deze maand de Rosetta eindelijk haar bestemming bereiken.
We're going to be up close with a live comet, and this is unprecedented.
Landing on a comet. Rosetta, 23 november bij Discovery. In een tijd waarin achter elk hoek het gevaar schuilt.
This is a robbery.
Geldt de wet van de snelste.
This is the moment where he becomes the greatest ever.
Out west, the flood legends are hidden. They have not Kijk naar het ware verhaal achter de helden van het Wilde Westen. Kanslingers. Vanavond 10 uur bij Discovery.
Before the break, we enjoyed the preparation of sushi's raw ingredients. Now we'll show you how a skilled chef makes bite-sized morsels with gastronomic artistry. Using a blend of colour, texture and taste, you'll see that our chef really steps up to the plate. The chef moistens his hands to keep the rice from sticking to them as he works. He dabs wasabi and places a ball of rice on one of the tuna slices. He pokes a hole in the centre of the ball to introduce air. This keeps the rice from compacting as he shapes the fish around it to make a type of sushi called nigiri sushi. To form nigiri, the chef works swiftly to minimise the fish's exposure to his touch. Human body temperature is much higher than room temperature, and prolonged exposure to it will compromise the fresh taste. A little pickled ginger to cleanse the palate, and this sushi is ready to serve. To make cucumber rolls, or kappamaki, he carves the outer part of the cucumber into a long white ribbon, stopping at the soft core. He slices the ribbon in two and layers the pieces. He then chops the cucumber into uniformly thin sticks. This exposes more of the vegetable's fibre to maximise the taste. This is dried seaweed called nori. He places it shiny side down on a bamboo rolling mat. He lightly presses rice into a ball so the grains stick together as he transfers it to the nori. He spreads the rice evenly, leaving a margin of nori at the top. Now he's ready for those expertly sliced cucumber sticks. He groups several in the centre of the bed of rice. Then gripping the mat on one side, he folds the nori around the fillets. As he squeezes the pack, some rice spills into the margin of nori at the top. But there's still enough space to create an overlap and seal the ends of the nori around the fillets. Using a wet cloth, he tucks in the overflow at both ends. He slices the roll in half. He aligns the halves and slices 3 times to create 6 pieces, each piece approximately the same height for an attractive lineup. Next, he makes uramaki, a kind of sushi with the rice on the outside, which is why they're also called inside-out rolls. He spreads rice evenly over the nori and flips it around to the shiny side. He dips his finger in wasabi and spreads it down the middle of the nori. He arranges tuna on the wasabi-coated section. The raw red fish is then paired with slices of avocado for a tasty contrast. He folds the rice-coated nori over the fillets and tucks it around them, and continues rolling until he reaches the edge. He garnishes the rice with toasted sesame seeds for both look and a tasty crunch. He covers the roll with plastic to protect it from the grooves of the sushi mat as he shapes it into a tighter pack. He then removes the mat and carves the inside-out roll into bite-sized pieces. Inside-out sushi was invented in the 20th century to appeal to Westerners who preferred not to see the nori. The final morsel on the menu is the hand roll, also known as tamaki sushi. He presses soft rice into the crispy nori and layers the next ingredients diagonally over the rice. The wasabi, a herb called shiso, and pieces of tuna. He folds the nori around the fillings to contain them in a seaweed cone. Now all that's left is the presentation, and when it comes to sushi, less is more. Over-garnishing can detract from the main event, the fish. A simple, artful arrangement puts the focus on its raw appeal. Honestly, we're not being sarky. So from creating handmade cards, to chords that always come back for more, to sushi, now you know how it's made.
We're two New Yorkers who moved to Las Vegas to follow our dreams, to create underwater world like no one's ever seen. It's a family business for sure. I was forced into this relationship. I married Greg's sister. And my dad runs operations. We call him the town. We may fight, but somehow we make it work. If you can dream it, we can live it. Next week we got the site visit in New York, we got the leads in Long Island, and Jim and Allie's in Manhattan. So we're off to New York to meet some clients about some aquariums we're going to build. We're all from New York, so it's going to be awesome to be home.
Who's going to New York?
You wait.
I'll go.
I didn't book any tickets in for you to go.
Awesome. It's been like 3 years since I've been back.
See, we only fit you in his carry-on.
What are you laughing at? I want to go. But if they're going to New York, they're not going without me.
The bottom line is I wanted to snow during Christmas and Vegas, but it doesn't happen.
That's fine, but you're gonna have to work like the rest of us.
Good to be back in Manhattan, huh? So first up is a meeting with Allie and Jim, who want to discuss a very special thing.
So this is the space. One of the reasons that we really wanted an aquarium now, our youngest son, Chili, has not had an easy lot in life. By the time he was 6 months old, he had 2 open heart surgeries, he has a pacemaker, and he actually has a lifetime surgery ahead of him. When it's cold flu season, he can't go outside.
This isn't just his playground, this is his world. I grew up myself with such a passion for the oceans and sea life. I really, really want to pass that down to Chili.
You know, we're all parents, so that kind of hits home a little bit more, so it's a little bit dearer to our hearts.
There's nothing worse than having a sick child and having to go through that. My heart just goes out for his family.
We were kind of hoping to put the aquarium here. When we first moved into this house, our daughters put Chili in this corner, and they called it Chili's library. And they filled it with his books and his his chair and he would sit there and read for hours on end. I was hoping we could keep that theme and build the aquarium here in his corner. With Chili's upcoming open heart surgeries, I can't think of anything more relaxing or calming than to have an aquarium for Chili. Chili's mother is a children's book author and illustrator, and she wrote this book called The Maggie Bee, and in it it's about a little child who wants a ship and to sail the seas with it. We were thinking about having an aquarium designed like a ship and naming it the Maggie Bee.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes. Hi, Chili.
Hi, buddy. This big guy right here, he's the gate measure king.
Chili's a really adorable little kid. I can't believe he's 3 years old and been through so much. I really want to make something special for him.
There you go, you're my partner now. Give me 5. Alright. You're good help. Hey, Chili, we're gonna build you a big, nice aquarium.
Now we're off to Atlantis Marine World. It's a full-scale public aquarium out on Long Island. A few years ago, we built them a display tank that's about 18 feet long and 1,000 gallons. The tank now is housing all types of fish. We have ring butterflies, we have angels, and we have big-eyed fish. They just found a big issue with our tank, so I have no idea what we're walking into.
I really appreciate you guys stopping in today. Right. You know this tank really well. It looks like there's a bit of a leak in the overflow box.
Okay. An overflow box skims water from an aquarium and delivers it to the filtration device. This process is a continuous cycle that helps to keep the water fresh in the aquarium.
Maybe take us back to the room over here to the left. Let's show you the pump room and the filter room. Okay. All right. Anything else to say later?
I've never been here before. I'm gonna go enjoy the exhibits.
Just so like yesterday, there's my little puddle. Obviously, I've got a leak somewhere. So you guys can handle this. That would be awesome. Okay, don't worry about it. Go do your thing. Okay, take care.
A small leak in the overflow box can lead to a big problem in a short time.
Yo, I see it, bro. Someone tightened the bulkhead too tight and cracked the bottom of the tank. When you tighten bulkheads, you sometimes run the risk of cracking the acrylic if you turn too hard. So the first thing we need to do is shut off the pump so we can add some acrylic cement to the bottom of the tank, and hopefully that will seal the crack.
If we didn't do that in the overflow now, that could have cracked the whole bottom of the tank.
There could have been 1,000 gallons of water on the floor.
I got the light right where the crack is.
So I applied the acrylic cement to the crack and we let it harden.
It looks good from up here.
No leaks, baby. Perfect.
Yeah, it definitely got in the crack. It looks good. ATM style, baby.
While the guys are busy working, I'm walking around, checking things out, and then I see it. Not too long ago, Wade and Brett had me install these coral inserts in a tank filled with sharks.
Listen.
You want some cheese with that one?
So I'm going to sign them up to dive with the sharks, and let's see how they like it. I am so excited. I have the best news. You know what they have here? They have a shark dive. And I registered both of you to do it.
Seriously?
You guys put me in the shark tank, so I thought I'd return the favor and put you guys in the shark tank.
I know she thinks she's getting us back for putting her in the shark tank. We're professionals. Diving with sharks? No big deal.
As long as they're not big sharks.
Okay, that was real scary.
Wow, you see the size of those sharks? They're sharks, sand tigers. They're 350 pounds, 12 feet long. Look at all the teeth. Are you scared?
I don't know what I expected, I'll be honest.
Coming up on 10.
best offering.
We're at Atlantis Marine World, and Heather thought she'd be funny, and she signed us up for a shock value. But the joke's on her, so I'm gonna love it. But I can't say that with Brad.
You ready?
Not really.
Why are you sweating a little bit?
Because I am. Oh, with those sharks, you can sweat
I've
through.
already been in with the sharks, too.
Yeah, with pups.
I did it with no cage. I'm well considering the two of you. You guys will actually be in a closed cage. Okay, first of all, you better slow down. The sharks are nowhere near the cage.
Those things look a little wide. Can that head steer that?
Actually, in the vertical bars like that, their nose will be able to go in there like a foot.
Stay back there.
You're a baby. You're in a cage for crying out loud. It's not that
So
big.
no fit into the cage as much.
You can have fun. What are you worried about?
See? This is why I didn't want Heather coming. This New York trip, it was supposed to be fun. And this isn't fun. We might be in a cage, but these sharks, they're still scary. They're really big.
You guys can go over here and just smell it. That's a big one. That'll teach them to mess with me. I love that.
Since we've been having so much fun with Heather, we decided to drop her off at the hotel and wait night are heading out to meet with the leads. Nice house, huh? Really nice. They've been building their dream home for the last year. Hello. Hello. Dr. Lee? Yes. They want an aquarium installed before they finish.
Now, I remember when we talked on the phone, we talked about it being like a feng
Feng
shui.
shui.
Feng shui?
Yes.
Okay. It's a type of, I mean, I know it's a type of, I don't even think you know either, right?
It's a study or the art of proper placement of objects, and that would bring a situation the best luck or the best, things will flow smoothly.
Water represents containment of the energy or life. So we put it in the center house. Hopefully this will radiate to the rest of the house and give the positive flow to all the members in the house.
I like that idea, that's pretty cool.
We thought that this whole wall would be a perfect spot.
I knew this tank was gonna be big, but this thing's a monster. 14 feet long, 16 feet tall.
So what do you want to take it away?
Ever since I was a kid, I had fish tanks. I had one because one for me is I really derive a lot of pleasure and enjoyment from looking at the fish. But also for my family, I think all the kids will really enjoy learning about marine life.
What we really want to focus on is the type of fish.
They wanted to teach their kids about real life. Basically, inside the rock. Everything from hard corals to soft corals. So basically, everything inside.
That's great.
We'll make sure everything's perfect. We'll go back and study it. Faster now. Exactly. Hey, Frankie! Feng Shui is all about how you arrange objects and what directions they should face to create harmony in your life. I also learned the 5 elements: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Now that I know the basics, I come up with a design for the Feng Shui aquarium. The tank is going to be 12 feet long, 2.5 feet wide, and 4 feet high, and sit on a 4-foot-high metal stand. We're covering the top and bottom with wood cabinets that will open to allow access to the tank. The inside will be filled with live coral and fish that reflect the colors of Feng Shui. Feng Shui is supposed to bring you prosperity. There's a few people around here that could use some of that.
This is all wrong. Your computer monitor has to be facing northwest.
I don't know what you're doing right now.
Your paperweight needs to be northeast.
You know you're out of your mind.
This is a mess right here. What you got going on right here? This isn't gonna feng shui it. Hold on. Turn it a little bit this way. You just became the white dragon.
Do not touch my coffee.
Car keys, put them away.
You touch my coffee, I will
Really
break
not.
your hands. I'm letting you know right now.
What is that right there?
It's not my coffee!
What are you doing? I'm balancing everything.
Balancing. Don't rearrange my desk.
Sit in there, please watch me. Okay. Okay.
Since Brett was working on the feng shui tank, I was able to get the design down for Chili's boat tank. We're going to make a triangle-shaped tank that's going to be covered with a boat facade to replicate the Maggie B. It's going to be suspended 5 feet off the ground so we can slide a bed under it. To make this tank even more special, we're going to add a porthole on the bottom of the tank so Chili can look up into the aquarium while he recovers from his heart surgery. And since all the space under the tank will be for Chili, the filtration will have to go above the tank. The first step for the boat tank is to build a custom metal stand with a porthole in the bottom. And then we're going to get started on the coral insert.
I think concentrating the insert around this hole is going to make a big congregate in the area.
Okay, remember, it's a boat that started. Try to throw some of that stuff in.
Yeah.
You know, little kids like that stuff. Nick assembles all our coral inserts outside the tank using fish-friendly materials. We'll let the epoxy dry overnight, and then we'll add the coral insert in the morning to the boat tank. We wanted to do something a little special most people don't know about. What we did is we actually built a refugium. The feng shui tank is a living reef tank. We're going to add a complex filtration system called a refugium tank. The refugium will help create a mini ecosystem. The main aquarium will drain dirty water into the refugium tank that will be set up in the basement. The water will then be filtered through mud, algae, and sponges, picking up healthy organisms along the way. It will then be brought back into the main tank to provide the good water flow and consistent food supply that the coral needs to grow. You're going to see a lot of feng shui in this refugium tank.
I can see metal, so.
You see metal?
Yeah, that's one of them, right? Correct.
Water.
That's two.
What do we got down in the middle, Nick?
Oh, down here's gonna be a nice deep mud bed. Earth. And as you got the water flowing through, you got air.
Yeah, when water fall, release gases, you know. When we just get some fire, we're good.
You want fire?
You know, fire.
One thing that hasn't occurred to me was feng shui the refugium, but Lee took it upon himself to actually make a refugium feng shui. I was kind of excited when I saw that because I'm going to get to cover Lee's, and not only did we do the main tank in feng shui, we also did the filter tank as feng shui. While the crew continues working on the feng shui tank and the boat tank, we're heading to a fish supplier in LA to pick up fish for both tanks.
You got the end. Buddy. So, you know, we're always coming out with these huge projects that we got to take care of all our clients. So, this one's actually a feng shui coral reef. Alright. Either trying to be real helpful or want to keep the balance, you know, eat.
I think I got some stuff for you. So, actually, we got some fish right here, the flame angel. Yeah, these are good fish, so they have very bright orange red. They have a very intense purple towards the tail.
Fire is one of the elements of feng shui, so a flame angel is perfect.
Let's see what else we got floating around.
And here we got the copper band butterflies.
They do good in the reef tank because they eat cetaceans, right?
Yeah, that stage is a pest and enemy, it kills corals, makes the tank look up.
Makes the tank a nightmare, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're making sure the fish that we buy for the feng shui tank are living reef friendly.
Dude, check out those green foamers. I think we should get a big schoolhouse. And these are going to help keep the tank balanced as far as the energy level, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, because they're kind of a mid-water fish. They're not super aggressive, but they're not real passive.
The feng shui tank, it's huge. Big schools of little fish will take up a lot of space and make this tank look great. They'll also get expensive, so you get a big impact for not a lot of money. I have this client, and it's a little boy. We figured it's a kid's theme. Want to do clownfish and blue tangs.
So these tanks right here, we got some of the oscillator clowns. These are what, the tomato clowns? Yeah, the tomatoes. You gotta keep them separate because they're a lot more aggressive. When people hear clownfish, they generally think of the orange and white ones. But they can be maroon and yellow, black and white, yellow and white, all different colors. We're sticking with the orange and white ones, so everybody recognizes those. And generally, they're not as aggressive.
Hey, so you're quoting shipments to New York? We're gonna need that next week. All right, be good, kid. All right, buddy. All right.
Yeah. We just finished assembling the acrylic boat tank. Bring it forward. So now I want to get the tank on the stand and make sure everything lines up, especially the porthole underneath. Bring it down. Stop right there with a slide. Hold on. Push.
So is this the boat tank for the little boy?
Yeah.
I never saw a stand like this.
It's a little different. This little boy's gonna be laying underneath here and looking up at the fish tank.
He's gonna love that. Yeah, I never had something like this. He didn't deserve it. And,
It's very cool, but I'm watching you sit under that tank and thinking about the fact that there's going to be a little boy under that tank. That looks very heavy.
Are you a little nervous?
I'm a lot nervous.
I'd be nervous too, you know.
There's a little boy that's going to be under you. Don't do that.
Just show me you're strong.
No, you're showing me it's wobbling.
Oh, I'm shaking it.
And it's wobbling.
You know what? I think I put my grandchildren under there. I think I put my children under there. Matter of fact, my children are under there now.
Okay, your grandchildren would not come up here right.
So what do you propose?
I would prefer to see it with my own two eyes that this can stand the weight.
Okay. All right. You know what I'll do? I'll do a stress test.
That would make me feel much better.
I've done the math, so I know this stands strong enough. But if Heather's concerned, I'm not going to leave a shred of doubt in her mind.
It's pretty heavy there, buddy.
I hope it's gonna hold it. Watch your head! Oh, God.
How much does that wood weigh?
About 4,100 pounds? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
When the tank's filled with water, it's going to weigh 1,600 pounds. We're testing with 2.5 times that weight.
That's a lot of weight.
Give a little Hail Mary.
If the stand holds this, it's definitely going to be sturdy enough to hold the tank. Bring it down. You're almost there. Easy.
I hear it.
Een gloednieuwe aflevering. Loeiende, zaterdag 9 uur bij Discovery.
I was confident the boat tank stand can hold 1,600 pounds of acrylic water. But Heather wasn't convinced, so I agreed to do a stress test. And now that I see redneck lowering 2.5 times the weight on the stand, I'm a little nervous too.
I hear it. You're an idiot.
I'm at minus 400 right now.
So technically, you're 4,500 pounds under here. The tank has 1,600 pounds of water in, and you're over double the weight.
Almost triple.
I think it's kid safe.
Yeah, I would let Taylor Morgan come play under it now.
I wouldn't build anything and put a child on it unless I know it's right.
I wasn't questioning what you were doing, but now that I see how strong it is, I feel confident that we can like assure the parents that it's safe. Hey, wait!
What?
Brett, come here.
Oh, boy.
lucky we all are to have our help, I just felt that this was a perfect time to spend a little bit of extra quality time as a family.
Oh, we spend quality family time here every day.
No, that's not quality time, that's just time.
There's a lot of work to be done. This is not a good time for a vacation.
So the job will get done, and we'll stay a couple of days for like playtime. Plus, this way, I get to see the look on Chili's face when you unveil the tank to him.
Sounds good to me. I haven't seen people from New York in a while, so I'm down.
All right, what do you think, Rick? If we have time, I'm fine with it.
Okay,
Let's just do it.
I'm gonna book the ticket.
Right now, I'm gonna head over to just before to see their progress on the replica of Maggie B. The ship in Chili's grandmother's children's book. We're here to do a test install to make sure everything fits like a glove.
Okay, hold on. Slide it in place, guys.
They covered the metal stand with wood and now are fitting the tank with a boat facade that looks like the Maggie B.
This is made out of what, like a styrofoam, right, Jenny? It's a high-density styrofoam that we're gonna hard coat with wood texture on. To the top, that looks cool. That's awesome. Guys, we have a problem. One, two. We have three problems. What do you think? This seam here has to be covered. Oh yeah, you can't see the painted edges of the tank. See that? So somehow or another we gotta move this part in, and we have the same thing on the front. But the major problem that I do see is this up here. Right here's a wall. So imagine this wall is going straight up. Yeah. This is going into the wall. I ain't gonna fit. You see what I mean? That's a big problem, dude. You're right. I don't know how much we could do in the time frame that we have left. There's a lot of pieces of the puzzle here.
Unless we come up with another solution, Jason's gonna have to rebuild all the boat pieces so it fits properly. But this tank's being shipped to New York tomorrow. We don't have that kind of time.
Let me ask you a question. If we cut the back end of the boat down and bring this end down, then it would shrink everything down about 6 or 8 inches.
Yeah, we might be able to do something like that.
We'll help you do it, man. We'll stay and whatever, wait, right there.
We gotta get it done.
Let's pull it off and let's get it done, man. This thing's gotta go.
This can totally work, but one wrong cut, we have to start from scratch.
Very nice. That's a good fit. Now that's the Maggie B I'm talking about.
Yeah, that thing looks just like the picture.
That'd be good. It's high feet.
So both of the tanks for our New York clients are ready. The only way to get them to New York is to drive across country. For Redneck, we're packing up the truck for his 5-day trip. There's no way these two are driving. We're just gonna take a flight and move over there.
We should probably got first class tickets.
First up, we're in Long Island and we're installing the League's new living reef tank. This main tank is gigantic. It's 12 feet long, 2.5 feet wide. It weighs 850 pounds with no water.
Keep going, get your hair mark.
Good, Redneck?
Yep.
Now that the main aquarium is in place, it's time for the refugium tank.
Watch the doors, guys.
This tank is part of the main tank's filtration system. It will be filtering water from the main tank and packing it with organisms for the coral to feed on.
Watch your elbows, watch your elbows.
And this tank has its own set of challenges when getting it into the house.
It ain't going for that.
It ain't going. If we break this now, it's all over. We gotta start over. Watch the corners of the tank. We don't wanna break it. There we go. Beautiful.
Redneck and I are hooking up all the piping so it reaches the main tank. This is a huge job and it's going to take most of the day.
Hey, you know we're in this feng shui house. Look at this mess that Redneck creates.
Dude, he's on the job.
I understand, but how many times we talk about feng shui, balance, prosperity? You know what? I got it. Balance, I'll make it easy for you.
Brent, stop feng shui Redneck. Leave him alone.
Oh, look who showed up when the heavy lifting's done, huh?
I learned from the
And
best.
coming 5-inch heels to a job site. What are you doing?
I'm here to make sure you're working.
Right, you wanna help me out?
What are you doing?
Feng shui.
It is looking a little unfeng
Isn't it?
shui.
Right there. In this bucket. Put it right next to Redneck over there. I'm gonna move a couple of these things over here. No!
toolbox. Can you do that for me?
You know what? Fine.
It's driving me nuts. I think I have a good idea to get him out of my hair for a little while.
Do me a favor, get him out of here. Go get corals for the tank upstairs and help me out. Can you do that for me, please? Thank you. Say, you taking care of this? Look at this mess. Right. Listen, you know I'm gonna help out too, but you gotta do me a favor. Take my wife, go to Darren's, get the coral. She's driving me nuts. So you want to drive me nuts? It's your sister. Okay.
That should do it. Our buddy Darian, he's been helping us out with the New York builds. He's got a coral shop nearby. His coral is propagated, which means he's growing it right here instead of taking it from the ocean. It's important to us and the leaves that we stay eco-friendly.
So these are a lot of your frags, huh?
Wait, what are frags?
Frags are actually fragments or pieces that we're able to cut or snip off of mother colonies. And we've been growing mother colonies for over 10 years now.
These corals might look small now, but eventually over time, they're going to grow and open up and fill up the leaf tank. You see the red mushrooms?
And you have that sick green one.
They're Australian brain.
Look at that, it's a brain.
Those are real nice.
Maybe I should get you a couple of those.
Yeah.
When I was reading up on feng shui, I learned that red represents energy and purple is good for physical and mental healing. I see over here you got a lot of bigger stuff. This is stuff you've been growing for
This is stuff we've been growing. This is spaghetti leather.
That orange one right there.
That's a Gorgonia.
That's amazing. This purple one.
That's also a purple Gorgonia.
You want to touch a storm? That's a purple reef. How cool is that? Look at that.
How exciting.
But no, seriously, Darian, I mean, you got some beautiful pieces. We're going to clean you out.
I'll start writing them now.
This was fun. I'm really glad that we did this, even though the only reason I really came was because I had to get you out of the house.
Get who out of the house?
Get you out.
Get me out? Why would you have to get me out?
When you went upstairs, he's like, Heather, your brother's driving us crazy. You gotta get him out of the house before I kill him.
That's pretty funny. He's like, Brett, you gotta do me one big favor. I'm like, what's that? He's like, your sister is driving me nuts. Please, get her out of the house.
No, he didn't.
I swear to God. So you know what happened?
You guys both out of the house.
Yeah, that was both out of the house.
And worked just against one another.
Yeah, that's real funny.
Gotcha. It's day 2 of the feng shui aquarium, and this tank is so big, you can fit 2 guys in it. We're loading the tank with sand and rock. The sand is filled with water-purifying bacteria. The rock is skeletons of dead coral that is home to all kinds of marine organisms. All right, guys, we got water. Let's start putting it in the coral.
Gotta make sure we put these pieces in the right spot, you know, for prosperity, wealth, and balance.
The feng shui expert.
That's right, baby. Yeah.
I'm a good director, so I'll direct you two, and we'll see how good you guys are at doing.
I know you can direct.
People tend to forget that coral's a live animal. So when we put these pieces in, we have to have the right amount of light and water flow to keep them alive.
Devil's hand.
Devil's hand.
They need medium to high lighting and medium to high flow. So you need to put those towards the top.
In there, in the hole. Come on. No, more to your right. No, now back towards your left.
My sister is awful pussy.
You gotta grab it from the top. Look. I want it right in that.
Your bread is and your pointing is 2 different spots.
No, it's not. It's right the same. Right there. Straight ahead. Right there. Perfect. Good directing skills.
Couldn't direct your way out of a wet
No, Master. You be quiet and just do what you're told.
I might be getting a little tired of all this family time. I got a bowl of coral. The little bubbles will be filled up with water during the day and deflate at night. I ain't gonna get her from that ankle whore. Hold this for me?
Oh my God! Really, idiot?
You wanted to direct, you get wet. Live with it. All right, guys, it's time to put the fish in, so let's roll.
Achilles tag, Hawaii. The colony of firefish, here we go. And we're off. Man, I love these little yellow watchmen go. You look at them.
We got a monster purple tang.
Beautiful, and it's looking good.
The coral and fish are in, the refugium in the basement is up and running, and it's filtering water from the main tank. It's time to show the leaves the new feng shui aquarium.
What do you guys think? room, fit with the house.
I think it's perfect.
You know, when we first met, I didn't really know what feng shui was. So I learned about feng shui. We tried to incorporate it all into the aquarium. Like these fish right here, they're called firefish. You see at the end we have flame scallops. We have a lot of purple, you know, for prosperity. The purple starfish. And none of the fish that we put in here are going to harm the reef. A lot of clownfish down at the end with anemones. And the clownfish and the actual anemone, you know, have a symbiotic relationship. So they actually work together. The clownfish use it for protection, and they also bring food over to the anemone.
Down here is one of my favorites. We had the bubble coral. Down here, these two my wife likes. They're called flower pots. They're actually really small right now, but they're going to actually open up to probably about this big.
And as you can see, you see some of the tangs are already eating off the larvae. And what's going to happen is it's going to grow a lot of algae, and they're going to be able to graze at all times.
I've had tanks before, but nothing like this.
Right.
This is amazing.
The reef tank is just an embodiment of balance with the rocks and the fish, the energy.
Everything in this room, the energy is just all around us. It's a positive energy.
And to have that in the house is just amazing. We had some time in between the two installs, so we decided to catch up with some friends and family we haven't seen in a long time.
Hey guys, I went over to Grandma's house. She gave me a bunch of pictures, and some of these pictures, I really couldn't believe.
I think it's really sweet that my dad went over to my grandmother's to get some childhood pictures. Who knew he was sentimental?
What happened to you? Exactly what happened to you?
Did I say sentimental? No, I meant sentimental.
Oh boy. Oh my God, this is what he was saying.
That is 23rd Street. 23rd.
At some point.
P-H-A-T. Who's this? Who is this?
Who is that girl?
No.
Yeah.
This twin brother.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you for all being here. I wish you all good health and happiness.
Here, here.
I made these pictures, never leave the table.
So now we're installing the boat tank for Chili, a 3-year-old boy who's had a lifetime of surgeries.
Man, oh man, is it cold? Dude, where is he? Dude, he told me 2 blocks away.
Robbie had no trouble getting the aquariums from Las Vegas to Long Island, but apparently driving through Manhattan, that's a different story, because he's 2 hours late.
Actually, do something. I'm not dealing with redneck. I hate this big city.
Did you tell him that he had to take 6 bridges and tolls?
Hey, you! Get the hell out of the road! You want me to run your ass over or what?
So he's gonna be human. He's human.
Listen, he's from the country. He rides cows and stuff. He doesn't know about home trucks in the city.
Oh my God.
What happened? Dude, where you been? What do you mean where I've been? Hey, what am I driving? A truck. You think you're just driving like a little compact car? You know how many toll bridges I had to go across?
Dude, I could have drove a horse and got here faster.
I could have too. A horse is a lot smaller than a 26-foot truck.
Like, there's no reason to get your storms in an uproar.
It's a rush in an uproar.
Let's get the steel stand off the truck, and let's get it in the house, okay? Moving a tank into a client's house is never easy. And this installation in a small New York apartment isn't going to be any different. I still love New York, though. Roll scratch that back in. Hold on. Oh. All right, hold on. Here goes the dolly, tilt it back a little, and up and over. Walk it, turn it. A little more. Stay up.
Whoa, good stuff.
We can't go anymore?
No, we're stuck up
We figured this out. Hold on. As we get the tank through the door, we realize that the banister's in the way, and we're stuck. The best idea is to lift it up over the railing. There we go, on three. 1, 2, 3. Right? This tank weighs about 500 or 600 pounds, and you literally have to get this thing up over your head. You can scratch the banister, drop the tank. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. Look at these guys. Unbelievable. Hey, behind them? So we got this tank up in the air, and it's teeter-tottering like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I'm thinking this thing's gonna fall over. They're gonna lose this tank. They're gonna lose this tank. Coming up on tank.
That is amazing.
10 jaar geleden lanceerde ESA de ruimtesonde Rosetta. Haar missie: landen op komeet 67P. Met snelheden boven 120.000 km per uur en een afstand groter dan 6 miljard kilometer zal deze maand de Rosetta eindelijk haar bestemming bereiken.
We're going to be up close with a live comet, and this is unprecedented.
Landing on a comet. Rosetta, 23 november bij Discovery.
For a 3-year-old boy named Joe. And behind him, we have to carry this thing above our heads to get it in the apartment. Let me tell you something. This thing's about to go down. You're gonna lose this thing. Mike, you gotta switch over from your family. Okay, bring it down and replace level. We got it. Mike, you're the nerd. Slow. That was insane. There's a lot of pieces here. How are we supposed to put this together? The same way you put a puzzle together. You try hard. Good. 1, 2, 3. Easy on the slide. You got the porthole. Good. Right in there, baby. Golden, come on, we can throw her up. Chili is only 3 years old, and he's going to be laying under this tank recovering from open heart surgery. So he has to be perfect. Get secure. Good job. Come on, dude. Teamwork. Oh, I love these guys. Oreo sweet lips. Oh, look at them guys.
Majestic angel.
That angel's beautiful.
There's one big solid green chromosome.
Oh, that's a big green chromosome. She's a double XL. I love it.
Oh, this one I can get in the tank.
Save the best for last. Come on, Dory. Hey, man, honestly.
Really nice fish.
Now, this is a custom bed.
Wow, this is awesome.
The bed Chili would be using while he recovers from heart surgery just arrived. We really hit home how special this tank is.
Look, you even got the little plaque to Maggie B. That's awesome.
Made to match the boat.
What kid would want one of these in their room? Every kid's gonna want one. Exactly.
After meeting Chili during the client consult, I knew I had to be there when he saw his tank for the first time. Oh my God.
What do you think of that?
This is absolutely amazing.
I'm gonna go get the family right now. I can't wait to see the look on Chili's face when he sees what happened to his corner.
Wow. Jeez.
Oh my God.
That is amazing.
Oh, no way.
What do you think, Chili?
Awesome. What's the Maggie B?
It's speechless.
I can't believe it.
Look at that, huh? What do you think of that? Good? Oh my God, huh?
I've never seen him put his hand to his mouth. He just went like that, and he couldn't say anything.
Chili was mesmerized.
So tell you what some of them are.
I see Nemo.
That's okay. Yeah, obviously the clownfish, you see Nemo, you see Dory.
Yeah.
Now we have Heliopus butterflies, the ones with the streamers. There's actually pajama cardinals and bang-eye cardinals, and they kind of stay together, and it looks like they're just floating. We have a raccoon butterfly that has a black mask like a raccoon.
Oh, this is a million times better than any hospital bed. And to think that this is where he gets to recover. I can't keep the tears back.
Keep it up, you make me cry.
Having a kid who has extra needs, it's always a struggle. You see them go through such painful experiences and painful procedures, and you just want to take that all away and say, I promise you that life is worth it.
Excuse me, Mom. Can I sleep here tonight?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great idea.
This was a challenging aquarium, but forget about all that. What that little boy has to go through, you know, that was my son. I feel for those family, but you know what? To see that little boy's face today and to see the smiles on the family, it was worth it. You happy? Give a high five? You're my man.
New Discovery Survivor Man.
Grab my machete.
It's early in the morning on the world's second largest island, and the temperature here is already at 33 degrees Celsius, and that's 92 degrees Fahrenheit. The humidity, as always, is stifling, as high as it gets. This is, after all, the wet season in one of the most ancient jungles of the planet. I'm flying over a place on the Pacific Ring of Fire. It's the collision point of several tectonic plates, where volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are frequent. I could give you all the impressive stats of how many bird and plant species there are down there. But the fact remains, no one really knows. This place has been too remote for anyone to accurately study. Where am I? Papua New Guinea. Deep in the heart of this mountainous and untouched jungle, I'm landing in what can truly be described as a tiny remote village. It's not even on the map. Wanakipa is home to a few dozen Hewa, a group of people known to the outside world as savages. In fact, that's what their name means. They still fight, kill each other out here by bow and arrow, spear, and machete. That doesn't make them savages. In fact, what they desire is a peaceful existence, eking out survival on these remote hills by, if you can believe this, farming. Papua New Guinea is in the eastern part of the planet just north of Australia, and with over 850 indigenous languages, the most in the world, it's extremely diverse. 80% of the people here live in rural or remote areas with no modern facilities. An anthropologist has led me here to meet with the Hewa, and the Hewa are leading me deep into the jungle they call home. Borneo, the Amazon, and the Congo. All jungles with a reputation for being deep, dark, mysterious. Well, I'm in one of the last great unexplored jungles on the planet, Papua New Guinea. I'm with a couple of members of the Hewa. Their life expectancy is actually 32 years. And anyone who's lived longer than that has at one time led a Stone Age existence. The only way they can survive in this jungle by having tiny jungle farms. Here, you can't survive off the land. Well, I'm about to find out why. By spending the next 7 days out here, without water, very little food, no gear, and no camera crew, alone, Papua New Guinea. Italiano and Axel, my two Hewa guides, think what I'm doing is ridiculous.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
But they know what I need to accomplish my mission. I need to be left alone in the jungle. My two Hewa guides have dropped me off here. Oh, flies in the mouth. And this is where I've got to survive now.
Gotta set some priorities here. I've eaten this morning, so I'm fine for food. There's water all around me, I can hear it. So hopefully some of it is good enough that it's not gonna bother my stomach too bad. I actually should have been up here a day or two earlier, but I've been sick with diarrhea and vomiting for 2 days. So it's taken a lot out of me, and that's how I'm starting off this venture. It rains here nearly every single day. Solid downpour, usually thunderstorms. This is a jungle. It's a rainforest. So, shelter. And got some time, but I'm gonna get down to it. When I was out here training with the Haywa guys, they showed me how to take down a tree out here. Or at least how they take down a tree out here if you don't have a bush knife. Let me show you how it's done. If I can do it.
The teeth of the Haywa are ground down to almost nothing due to the constantly chewing of something called beetle mat. Yet they can still chew through small trees. When they did it, they literally got halfway through the tree and then broke it down.
Maybe it takes years living in the jungle. That's how you do it without a bush knife. And that's how you do it with a bush knife.
The final look of this shelter will be that of a lean-to. Here in this particular rainforest, I can utilize easy to work with small trees, hanging vines strong enough for tying, and big fat green leaves for my roof. With nightly rains that are essentially a deluge, they can last for up to 12 hours without breaking. Taking time now to make sure my shelter is strong, and in particular doesn't leak, is vital.
It's the middle of the day now, 1:30 or so, and the heat just becomes quite oppressive right about now. So I have to stop every so often and just let my body temperature cool down a bit. Overheat real quickly. You really got to monitor your body temperature in a place like this.
It's during shelter construction with all the grabbing and moving around when I can easily touch something that can either shock, infect, bite, poison, or sting me. So I've got to be careful.
I can't get too close to that camera because that's a big wasp who's decided he likes it. I don't feel like getting stung on the first day of it. Alright, well, step one, done. Shelter from any downpours that will definitely come, but you'll see that in a jungle that is this fertile, it's very difficult to survive.
This jungle is flowing with water, but I've come in with stomach problems already, likely from the village water, so I hope that out here it's safe.
It tastes good enough, but no way of knowing whether or not it's been parasites. The reality is, I'm pretty confident that this stream is clean and clear. That's the surprising thing. I think most people think that all streams and bodies of water are just causing the majority of parasites. They're not. The streams are just fine. And the drinking from streams in the jungle so far, there were no problems. And then there were other times where I got sick. So, hopefully this one I didn't get sick. I'm wondering what that high-pitched sound is. That's giant cicadas doing their call. Very loud, ear-piercing. I'm gonna check out what the Haywa sent me in with. Fire starting kit, some tinder, piece of vine. See how that goes. And they sent me in with some food. Sweet potatoes, what they regularly farm here. That's what pretty much keeps them alive. Cacao, they call it. A few peanuts. And this necklace of nuts. Oh, and last but not least, jungle bananas. So enough food easily to keep me going for a day and a half, 2 days. As for the fire starting, well, I'll go grab some tinder and give it a shot before it starts raining.
Before it starts raining, that's just wishful thinking in the jungle.
Okay, that's just not fair. This is not going to be easy. One last effort.
video. Rustig.